to make sure that we meet that 25% match. It also will pretty much, I mean, it will go a long way to cover what that wage adjustment was, so that there won't be an issue at the end of the year that we would run short, because now we wouldn't have to cover the, well, 5,300, but it'll be less. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the wage adjustment was like 7,800 for the year. This will be, probably around 4,500 or something. That will be less out of the grant that can cover that wage, so that we won't have to readjust at the end of the year if we run short now, because, that would be.
But I guess my argument still is, yeah, we don't know if we're gonna run short at the end of the year.
Right.
So, but the other side of that too would be though, if we get to the end of the year and nothing pops up that we have that we can match with, if we can't dig up something else that would qualify for the match, then we could also end up being short.
And doing that at the end of the year is what Jamie brought up with supplanting. So if it's in the budget, but the county covers it, then it's fair game for the match. At the end of the year, if we're scrambling, trying to find something and backpedaling, and the grant covered it, then it's supplanting, right? We can't go back and do that.
Supplanting is when it's budgeted for with levy dollars, but then we try to use grant dollars to pay for it, so this is flip side.
This is the opposite of supplanting.
But if we've already,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha, yeah, I don't
And
understand how that
who
falls.
is all on this, that's going to this?
So it's team members,
It's at the top there.
we have 10 team members, I think 8 were signed up, but 6 are ultimately going.
For 5,300?
Yep, it's, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at Kalahari.
That seems like a lot of money per person.
How much per person? There's what, about a half a dozen going, you're going virtually.
I'm not going,
For 6 individuals, and it's roughly 5,300, that's give or take 850 a person,
How long?
3 days. 2 evenings?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. It goes, there's a training Tuesday night or Tuesday evening, a standards training, and then, Wednesday, Thursday, all day, and half a day Friday.
Yeah, it does seem like an awful lot.
So it's
Where's this at Kalahari?
Yep.
7326, and there's 7 people, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, we originally had 8, but now, Riley dropped off, so there would be 6.
So it
So
would
Elizabeth-
go down by the like you
It's
said.
gonna be
or
less than
it'll
that
be
amount.
less. So it'd go down by, if I'm doing my math, it'd go down by 1,046 from the whole thing. But we were only talking about covering registration, lodging, and other contingency.
So Elizabeth, Chris, Caitlin, Chelsea, I miss Chelsea, Riley, you said not going, Elizabeth,
Right.
Chris, Caitlin, Carl, and who, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is Newsberger going?
Yes.
And Alicia, so that's the 7, or who's not going here?
Chelsea's not going.
And why isn't she going? She kinda runs it, doesn't she?
She's no longer employed.
Oh,
No, she is still employed for the county.
okay. Cause she's the coordinator of it, right?
So
I'm
so
more
her
confused.
wages are coming out of drug court now then?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
The coordinator wages are coming out of the grant, yes.
Okay. But she's no longer a coordinator. Is that what you're saying?
We shouldn't be discussing this in open
Okay.
session.
So we got 7
Minus 1, 6.
minus 1, 6. That's right. Riley's not going either.
I cut you off before, did you still have a motion that you wanted to make, or?
Yeah, I'll still make that motion. To cover, the registration and lodging on a contingency so that we can use that for the match.
Okay, got a motion by Phil, is there a second?
Well, I see there was a officer's name on that list, Riley.
She said Riley dropped out.
He dropped out.
Yeah,
She
he
said
can't make
Riley
it.
dropped out.
Oh, okay.
Should, I think it just turns out.
It just turns hard. Oh, I think Rich got it. That was the one.
Oh, yeah,
He's on it, okay.
yeah, it says you and him will attend virtually.
That would just be
Is there any charge for the virtual attendees also? or-
200 as opposed to, I think, 500.
$500 plus rooms.
Is it just the registration and rules? That what this is for?
Yes.
I don't know, you guys been doing this longer than me, seems like a lot of people send to one thing, but maybe that's normal.
So we require one training a year, and this is really the only one. I mean, the Wisconsin Association of Treatment Courts is the best training, it's usually the only one we sign up for. I think there's one other one for a coordinator training in the fall, but that's it.
What's the total budget on that program, roughly?
Including the cash match, it's $160,000.
164.
And we're gonna spend.
40 of that is supposed to be cash match, so some of that is, indirect, some of it's jail bag costs for like probation hold, some of it's the UAs. Yeah, so the actual like budget, in the budget documents, right around 130,000-ish.
Okay, we've got a motion, is there a second? If not, I'll second the motion. Any more discussion on this? Any questions? Any more questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those say no?
No,
Oh, what do we got here? Let's do a roll call here.
no,
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Tony,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So we got 3 yes, 2 no, so motion carries.
Thank you.
no. I didn't know it was gonna work, my apologies. Phil slid that over here, so get that thing away from me. I thought it was
I
just
just
gonna
wanna
light
make
up or
the point
something.
that I was not the no guy today.
You got me, Phil.
Have that property.
Okay, Gary, you had a question or?
Yeah, I guess this is a question on, my maintenance budget. I'm just going off of the budgets I get from Sky here. So in November and December, I got my budget. I had roughly $45,000 left. And then in January of '23, I had little $45,500 left, which is 8%. Which at that time I wanted to kind of purchase some items.
What line were you talking about there?
It would just be the basically what's left.
Alright,
He wants to
you
go
want the
forward.
balance?
We don't do that. I mean, we already have the 23 budgets set. There's no particular reason. We've already approved we've already approved up to 5,000 for the LTE snow shoveler position. You do this for one department, all the departments are gonna ask for it. If Health and Human Services asks for it, we're gonna be doing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, that's not I guess my question is November and December, I had $45,000 left, and I wanted to spend it on something. You know, I mean, I had all kinds of items that I wanted to spend it on, but I never really did. I brought it to property and asked, but it kinda got kinda shot down because they didn't know about the money. So then in January, we still had the $45,000 left, but then in February, it says we have a negative 2% here and that, and then in, March, we have a negative 3%, but then all of a sudden, just in April here, we got a positive $68,000, 12% profit in that, so, I mean, I wanted to spend $45,000 before the end of the new year, but I couldn't, and now we end up having $68,000 to spend. I'm just wondering, I just, for the future, I wanna know if I can spend that money or what. I got $68,000 that I mean, I got a whole list of stuff that I could get for, I mean, the benefit the county, and that, I mean, the benefit everything.
Is that go on every month that shows the divided out by 12 months, the budget or something? So it shows,
it's percent of total.
Right, so, however, is it based on days in the month, or how many months is it divided by 12, or is it divided by?
Percent of total budget, so like wherever you're at that.
Compared to in the year though, right?
And I think from where,
Otherwise you wanna go from negative to positive.
Well, and I don't, again, this is the first I've heard of
Okay.
this, so,
Typically, when, if there's money left over from 22, that is gonna all roll back into general fund. That's the policy that we have.
I get that, I do get that, Randy, but what I'm asking is, back in November, December, I would've spent that $45,000, cause I knew I had it.
you didn't have $45,000, you had, some of that was wages, and you can't use wage, dollars for other expenses. You have to keep your wage budget and your all other budgets separate.
Line items.
So, yeah, your other line items, that was like just over $21,000.
Okay. But now I have, like, from April, I have 68,000, just under $68,000. And a lot of it, well, I think all of it is basically from other departments, because basically, I'm assuming since I started in August, that our PARs have been like tracked a lot better and that, so we got, in 2021, you guys got $60,000 from other departments, but pretty much in 2022, I don't wanna take all the credit for it, but I'm gonna take some of it, is $128,000, come from other departments last year, and so that's a $68,000 increase from 2021.
Another thing, if I may, correct me if I'm wrong, we combined some stuff there last year. So this may not be a clear idea of what you're gonna have going forward, because we were combining departments under one roof, middle of the year type thing, to see how it goes. So there's gonna be some learning curve here going forward.
And we didn't, always charge out to joint management properties, and we recently started doing that, so that's a big part of that increase as well.
That goes back in the maintenance budget then?
Yes. But just because that revenue is there doesn't mean that it's available for, expend,
Where does
still have
it
some
go
budget for
then, I
expenses.
guess?
Back to the fund balance.
Okay. And then would I have a chance to get some of that money? I mean, 'cause I have just right now, I have probably 15 items that would definitely benefit the county and if we got some of them with that money, but.
I mean, you can build it into your 2024 budget.
If there's money left over, I mean, if you have items you wanna buy, I guess you need to stipulate what you want and what it's gonna cost and come to the, committee to get approval for it. I don't think you can just have a list of stuff you wanna buy and you say, okay, I got this money left in the budget and we should spend it just because it's there.
Yeah. And I think I've done that with a couple items, but I'll just read you my list that I have is duress systems, up in the courtroom,
What is that?
Duress systems.
Duress.
So if there's an emergency, the judge or court reporter or whoever, bailiff hits a buzzer so they know there's an emergency. and that's not,
I look like that, having banks and stuff.
that's not working properly. So we get that repaired. The fire alarm tie-in throughout the building, the sheriff's department and the jail is not tied into the fire alarm system. The batwing mower, a boom lift, roof components, heated cords, icebreakers, a smaller end loader, track skid steer, lighting upgrades throughout the courthouse. We have done lighting upgrades already, but, there's lots that needs to be done. Heating upgrades, heck, all that money, if you used all that extra money that we had, you could have probably done all the door access codes with that. And then,
I thought those door access were for like $8,000 a piece.
they're $3,000 a piece.
3,000, okay.
And we're doing, 7 of them, I think you guys approved.
Maybe 7 or 8.
But chiller upgrades, obviously, last week was 80 degrees and I got a lot of complaints, it was too hot here, I had to boil it off, there was nothing I could do. And that, can't turn the chiller on, if I would've turned the chiller on, it would've froze and wrecked it,
One day I was turning the portable air unit on in my room, and the next day I was starting up my stove again.
Some of that stuff, if we're gonna
Ridiculous.
be remodeling or building on, I don't know if we need to be purchasing that.
Is that something we wanna hold off?
Yeah, 'cause it might not be used in a new building if we build.
So I had salt, sorry to interrupt you, I had salt for next year, we went through 12, almost 12 pallets so far this year of salt. Electrical upgrades throughout the courthouse here, flooring upgrades throughout the courthouse, and possibly, wall painting upgrades throughout the courthouse.
So I'm gonna assume that you're, like salt and stuff, that budget's probably out of whack.
Well, yeah, it's over, I'm sure, right now.
I mean, plowing costs, all that stuff, so I guess my,
No, okay.
are you within budget on that type of stuff?
He
or
was
have-
over budget by $45,000 for expenses in 22, so,
In 22?
yeah, in 22, the expenses were over budget by $45,000, which we expected there to be some because of the position, Gary's position wasn't originally budgeted in there, so we have to do an amendment for that. But there's not, expenses were over budget by that. Yes, there was more, we were over budget on revenue, but that has nothing to do with the expenses.
So the actual full department, you're saying was over by 45, after we figured in the wages, if I reiterate that correctly?
Well, including the wages, so we were over by 45. The wages we paid for, Gary in 22 were 29,000 plus fringe. So that was the big chunk of it.
But we had some employees that were not on board too, that quit, so that would have been a savings on that end.
Correct.
That's taking that into account also, isn't it?
Yeah, so just for wages alone, we were over budget by 23,489. But that, obviously we're expecting to be over budget because of adding that new position. So, but this isn't actually on the agenda, so we can't take any action on it today.
So I was wondering, I didn't see nothing.
So, we could work together on looking at the budget.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to your attention, everybody's attention, because, I guess in the future, I'd like to spend the money that I have. I mean, if I have any money left over.
It doesn't sound like there is any money to spend.
Right, I mean, yes, we were over budget on revenues, but that rolls forward and then,
But then, like, doesn't, like, when it comes $128,000 we got back from other departments, I mean, that fills, that takes care of that, correct? So there's $68,000.
right, but there's still, $510,000 of levy that went into that budget in 22.
You're in a unique situation, cause you don't know what's gonna go to crap tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that money's gonna have to come somewhere. I get what you're saying, I get what she's saying. You're in a fluid type budget, because I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to make things better here, and I appreciate that. But we're gonna have to kinda stay on task, because, and the other thing, we don't know what shoe's gonna, or what shoelace is gonna break a week from now.
Something goes out and your budget is gone, then what do we do?
Yeah, and we end up with a $50,000 repair or
Yeah.
whatever. I get it, I do. And yes, I bet you can look around here and go, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed. I guess all I can say to you for right now, I'm happy to visit more on it next month if you wanna put it on the agenda. I say keep working with property and let those guys deem what's necessary to be fixed for right now. I don't know if anybody else got any other 2 cents they wanna throw in,
At
but.
this point in time, I don't believe you have all the, the whole courthouse, summarized as far as over and under.
Right, I'm in the process of.
I'm kinda worried about the highway department, their, maintenance.
Yeah, we don't have numbers in from that.
And we're
yeah,
probably
that could
gonna
ugly.
be, I mean, with all the snow we've had this year, we're probably gonna be over budget with snow removal for 23.
So,
So as much as you probably don't like to hear it, sometimes things that go back into contingency end up getting spent somewhere else because we have no choice because there's just only so much in the total kitty. You know, you're a part of the total kitty. Does that make sense? That's it, right?
Yeah, well, and we've already, I mean, the budget's already set, so if you need money for something, come to property and ask for it, because that's where it needs to come from now. And then for 2024, if you have planned expenses, you can build that into your budget, which we'll start working on in the next couple months here.
And then they can approve that when they approve your budget, say, hey, we wanna do this project next year. But, right?
Yeah, wait, I don't think we wanna vote, we're only in April, we got 8 months to go with this year.
Right.
Well, that's true. They could start snowing again in October and the rest of
Well,
your
I'm
budget
just
would go
saying,
to crap.
There's a lot.
I mean, the way this year's going,
Yeah, right.
change our address to Antarctica, I don't know.
I just don't, in 4 months, I had 8% profit, then I go to negative 3% profit, or not 8 months, 4 months, 8% profit, then I go to negative 2%, negative 3%, and then positive 12%. I kinda find that odd, you know what I mean?
I don't-
Maybe not odd, but it's just, I had money there, and all of a sudden miraculously I didn't have money there, now I got more money there than I had at the end of last year.
Well, come sit down and talk to me about it, cause I don't know what it is that you're looking at, so I'd be happy to.
The budgets that Sky sent me every month.
But I don't understand the negative 3% profit and all that, that's the.
I'll come see it, but it's right there on the bottom of it.
Is it because you're getting the billed really?
And we take care of journal entries to charge out, maybe it was in between when those journal entries happened, to charge out those costs to the joint management properties.
Cause I've even seen on our monthly, I'm like, why is their bills coming through from 3 months ago? It's not their fault. Some people get around to billing us for some of that stuff. I'm like, some of them, are really wonky. Like they should've been through within 30 days, and sometimes they don't come through on here till 90 days, so they can't apply them until they get them approved. But I get what you're saying.
so check with Jamie, and then, and we can put it on the next agenda.
Okay, thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you, Gary.
I think for Health and Human Services and Bynum is.
Jeremy is on his way down.
Oh, okay.
I guess we could, if it's okay with
These
you,
are
we
all
can skip to that LifeQuest agreement.
You're all good.
I had emailed you guys
I
that, so the
put my
LifeQuest,
initials on.
Huh?
I put my initials on.
the ambulance
it.
collections, so right now, the old stuff goes to Alliance, the newer stuff I'd like to just keep with, LifeQuest, and they will move it, when it's time for it to go to collections, they will take care of the collections. It's less administrative headache, it kind of keeps the old stuff separate from the new stuff, so I just, I sent you guys a copy of the agreement, and I also sent you a copy of the one that we have with Alliance. Their rates are comparable, so I'd just like your permission to move ahead with, I think you guys did give permission, but just, now that we have the actual agreement.
No, Alliance had a deal in there where anything that was in, what was that word again? More or less in litigation, or was receiving payments on, they could hang on in their contract for up to 72 months. Did you see all that?
Yeah, yeah,
Is there anything that falls underneath that criteria right now?
I think that they just, continue.
Cause I never
collecting
saw
on
that
there.
before until I saw this copy of the contract you sent.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, they got a long window there.
Yeah.
Something's in litigation.
Mhm. But that means that they're collecting, you know, the probability of collection on it, so I think that relates to how long it would take.
And
before
maybe
we
it
actually
just
write
said
off
it had to be
completely.
set up as payments. Maybe that's where it was already established as payments or. No, another thing I didn't see was the light quest. Unless I missed it when I read through it this morning, what do we have for a get out of jail card there with that contract? Or get out of contract?
This is an addendum to the contract. I
But the
have
original
to-
one, wasn't it 30 days rating, I thought? Or was it more than that, 6 months? Can't remember, can't keep them all straight.
It's probably probably 60 days. Let me find the.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
But we're already in that contract with them, so this is
Right.
just an addendum
This is
to the
just an
existing.
addendum.
Alright,
Mhm.
sorry, I'm muddying the water there for you.
But do you want me to find that contract and send it to you?
No.
Okay.
Well, you can send it, yeah, but unless somebody else wants to see it, we don't need that.
I got a question, what are these, CRM mechanical, why is it from Madison? This is who?
That's Ben Wiles.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, Gates Avenue, that would be half of the bill to the city?
That has to come up at joint management
When's the next trade management meeting?
Thursday.
Does that come out of mining fund? In other words, what is mining fund keeps on sliding.
And that's where all those little things we signed today come out of that mining fund, for those joint buildings?
Yes.
And the city should be paying that.
I don't know the original agreement on that, but that was my understanding that I've heard before.
Well, on top of that, though, you know, when there's any maintenance involved, the county is responsible for doing it. Performing the maintenance, which puts a pretty good burden on our maintenance department,
I would agree.
you know, and.
That isn't split 50-50?
Huh?
That isn't split 50-50 with the city?
Well, I don't know if there's a fee charge for it or not.
We do charge out that time, that's what Gary was talking about, that we have been last couple of years charging for the time spent.
Cause
on those
there's a
joint
budget that they
management
put in and we put into, right, for joint management?
We just,
They really have nothing to, other than they
The
can go.
library and stuff.
They
but
can
there's-
go around and rent the buildings, but we get, my understanding is, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but we get stuck with, okay, we're gonna remodel this for so-and-so tenant to come in, hey, county's gonna take care of paying for it. Right? I mean, that's kinda the way it's been right now, coming out of that mine fund?
Well, any kind of maintenance is done, county's doing it, I mean, the workers are, you know, the city of Basement doesn't provide any, physical
Manual labor?
right, I mean, toward, say if we had to change lights and whatever in the library, whatever.
Oh, the library, I think they do because there is a separate budget that
No, but
both sides put in,
Our-
it. Same with the
our
animal
people
shelter.
gotta do the work, my point.
Oh,
The city don't have anybody designated for doing.
I'll bet there's a lot of stuff that our guys do that doesn't even end up being built, I'm just gonna stick out there and say it, drive by, checking on buildings, this and that. Are they gonna write up for 10 minutes for this and 4 miles for that?
Every time they go
Probably
out-
not.
Every time they go out to Enterprise Center to do something, you know.
County gets billed for it. They're doing the work, not building
Yeah,
city
they're
for
doing
it.
the work.
Yeah. They're pretty busy on social media though. So, maybe they're trying to get more buildings rented that way, I'm not sure. Hopefully it works.
I don't know. I think there's still, sour grapes on that hospital building.
If possible.
so is it okay if Alan sends this contract addendum then?
who?
Alan, I'd have Alan sign it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
We
we
need a
need a
motion?
motion then to sign,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
we got a motion by Tony and second by Jim that the contract be signed, the,
That's the right
collection,
Yes.
White West
Yeah.
Collection Services
Yes.
contract be signed. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries. So,
Right.
all right.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's everybody today?
Beautiful. How about you?
Life is good today, I think.
Excellent.
Good start to the day. Okay, very quickly, I'll run through these things because your time is very valuable. So, first thing, out-of-state travel. It's been our practice that anytime we have somebody that's traveling out of state that has nothing to do specifically with a consumer, we have to come based on the financial procedures manual and come and make that request. I have two of them. One is really easy. Our reproductive health / preparedness nurse out of public health would like to go to Duluth for what's called the under one roof preparedness training. The person wrote a grant for $500. All the time and overnights and the meals and the travel will all be paid for, but nonetheless it's in Duluth, Minnesota, and so it's out of state.
So this comes out of your grant?
This comes out of like just our regular
Grant?
operational, but they also get $500. So that's a real easy one. So I would entertain a motion to approve that our LPN in public health goes to Duluth for the preparedness training.
I'll second.
Who moved?
I'll do it.
Al and Phil. Any other discussion, any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
Okay.
And motion carries.
Thank you very much. The second one.
You only get one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go home.
This one's
You're
worse.
gonna need your go home. Oh, he's softballing us today.
He's got them already, okay. So the second one is a little more interesting. We hired an environmental health specialist about 3 weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago, but they started about 2 weeks ago. The person then gave their notice and is leaving employment. They left employment on Friday. Unfortunately, they had a better job offer down by where their family was. The previous environmental health specialist, who was Kristen, wrote a grant to go to, it's a twofold grant, to go to New Orleans to the National Environmental Health Association event in New Orleans. It's a huge deal. She got $10,000 worth of funding to go to this, but it's twofold. $4,900 covers the transportation, the mileage, the meals, all that kind of stuff to go to New Orleans to participate in the conference. It's July 29th through the 31st. And then once you're back from that conference, you do a self-assessment. And we got then $5,200, $5,100 to do that self-assessment and then report back to the national level. And so it's very lucrative for us as a small county. We can do not only that self-assessment, we can also send our environmental health specialists to that training. And other than just some of the time of like they would be working in our office, that is covered by our regular position. However, the rest of it is covered by this granting. Okay? And so the discussion there is we don't have an environmental health specialist at this point in time. We're recruiting. We have one applicant that meets the criteria that's very interested, but that doesn't close until another week. And so I would like to get the authorization, because I had it on the agenda because Sharon was gonna go, but then she quit. And so that's why I'm here, just to kind of get this permission if we have an environmental health specialist in that position so they can go under this granting.
This is a grant also.
100%.
And that grant wasn't written for that specific person,
It's our agency.
we can send somebody from the company.
100% full disclosure is that everything, mileage, meals, hotels, flight, the whole works is covered. The only part that the county covers, it's not specific a match. It's that we're paying the person's hourly rate for the 3 days to be there when they're participating. But then when they come back, the self-assessment, the hourly rate that they get through the agency is paid for and included in that second part of the grant.
Which either way, if they're working here, they're working there, if they're learning.
We're talking 3 days. We're not
Work's
going,
work, yeah.
they're not gone for a month. We're talking 3 days.
And they're really working. I mean, if you're at a conference, you're doing work. You're learning, right? So
And the agenda is very robust, it's morning to night, 3 days. And so it's all inclusive for environmental health specialists. So I hope we have one that you would potentially motion that we would be able to send into this national conference.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion Jim, second by Phil. Any further discussion? Any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries.
Jim made the motion, I'm not sure who seconded it.
Phil.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
Then
having
we
me.
have Health and Human Services Deputy Director position.
Okay, so I brought to my board a job description that was approved.
It's in your packet here.
It should be in your packet, please and thank you. That job description that you see is would in most counties be a full-time employee. In Rusk County, this is not a full-time employee. This is the proposal to my board was 5 hours a month and then 60 hours a year. The request would be is that we stipend this rather than add it into a job description of $2,000. So essentially it's that $33 an hour, which is the average of our administration staff. The procedure would be is to allow any one of our 7 managerial staff to apply for this position. That would be just an add-on to, like I said, through a stipend. I'm looking at a 1/1/24 start with this, but the main reason is succession planning. The second component is when I'm not in the office, if I go on vacation or any of those types of things, I don't need to take my laptop to do the invoices. I don't need to do all those kinds of things. We can work on the budget, and this person can be exposed to all things that's Health and Human Services.
So with this person, you have to go through personnel then, or go through, I guess, normal interviewing process, right?
Correct. So I, just from the chain of command, I took it to my board, did the job description, took it to personnel, they approved the job description. And then obviously here at finance, because I'm asking for it to be $2,000 essentially.
In 2024.
In 2024, which we would then, propose in our budget. If I pull up the budget, you can see that my salary is allocated throughout, all of our programs to draw down the funding from the various granting that we have. This would be that same type of thing, is if it's a stipend, we would allocate it through the budget process to be inclusive of that cost as well. And so, the other contributing factor to this is when I left and I started jotting down all of the things that is the responsibility of the Human Services Director, it was a lot of information on an Excel spreadsheet that was passed along. And so, again, by being able to come back.
There was a crash course, and you stuck around to help, and if you went to, let's say, tomorrow, you find out you're sick, you can't come back to work.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that continuity there as much, where if we have an assistant, they could take over responsibilities.
100%.
A lot
That's
better.
exactly what it is. I've polled our region. Everybody has somebody. Everybody in our region, every county has some succession planning. They have somebody in second in command that is acting in the capacity if the other person is not available.
You could get fired tomorrow.
I could. You could walk me out the door right now. And so, that's a real thing. And so from a succession standpoint, it's very important to have that availability. And we've got a 75-page document that is our budget. And so when Laura and I sit down and talk about that thing here starting in June, it'd be nice to have somebody else in the room to say, hey, there's a fiscal side of it, and then there's the human side of it, of what you're doing with our budget and why we do what we do, because you can't just think about it from a funding standpoint. There's lots of things there. So again, that's my request. These guys have both told me that I can't say what I wanted to say, but I'm still gonna say it for this. You guys probably won't say it, or you'll say it isn't okay. But I can never offer, or identify some kind of a problem if I don't offer you a solution, okay? So I suggested that to personnel, that you could reduce my salary, the cost of this position. And Alan's already shaking his head no. But again, I can't offer you, something that I'd like to do. We don't offer a solution. It's a good idea for succession, it's a good idea It's a good idea for lots of things, in reference to the functionality of our department. But that is a thing. So, that's my request.
So technically, it would be built into your 24 budget.
Yes.
We're not looking at taking any funds out at the present time, correct?
No.
I mean, that's your plan, if I heard you correctly?
Correct. There's always gonna be a trickle down to our levy ask, okay? If I take $2,000, and Jamie is the guru with finance here, but if I take $2,000 in addition to what they're already spreading of my entire salary across all of our departments, we're talking about adding very little money to each one of those budgets that would account for this position. And so it's, simply, that's what it is. You're talking probably $300 a budget overall.
And part of that might be grant covered anyways, correct?
It's always
Cause yours
gonna
is,
be-
yeah.
Correct. So again, I put things in perspective, and again, I don't wanna waste your time here, but we have 7 departments that we ask for less than $900,000 total in levy, okay? 7 departments. We have 2 departments that are fully funded by levy, which is almost 300,000. And so we have 5 other departments that essentially are using up about $500,000 worth of levy. Our neighbors all the way around us are in the millions of dollars in human services levy. And so again, we're a few placements away from having, some very difficult financial times.
Of course, some of that's beyond control though.
Correct.
I mean, it's- we gotta react to the problems, right? If there's a problem, it costs more money to help out whoever we gotta help out.
Correct. And it's just historically, we've been very good through a multitude of facets. Our mobile crisis response is very adept at, meeting people in a crisis management so that we don't end up at the Winnebagos of the world and people are, sitting in a placement where they're not able to live their best life and some of those kind of things.
So would you be opposed to this position starting July 1st of this year?
Not at all. In fact, I would like that, but that's not how I've sold it.
It
So,
would be helpful in the budget process though, I mean, to help have that person exposed.
During this budget.
That's my motion. We start the position July 1st with the $1,000 roughly that we need to come out of contingency and so.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion by Jim, second by Phil.
any discussion? Any discussion? Can I just add one thing?
Yeah, well,
We will absorb that within our 2023 budget. There won't be any contingency fund,
Well, I think it should be in there just in case.
just in case. Okay.
I mean, you guys disagree, say so.
I think it's a good idea.
I
We
don't,
gotta make sure it's covered if something.
I don't like the waiting thing. I just assume instead of sitting here and like a turkey out in the woods circling our feathers for the next 9 months, let's get the ball rolling.
Especially budget process, like you're saying, will be coming up, and
That's gonna give you
That'd be-
6 months to get your feet wet on it and see how it works going into, or at least have an idea when you put it in your budget. Some
or
type of
for
feeling.
to have them quit by next year, after the first 6 months, they might decide it's
So
too
there's a
much.
process then that I'll work with Jamie and Ashley on is, my proposal would be is to offer it to the admin staff in human services. If nobody is interested, then we would look at the county, and then we would look at general public. So that's, the job description says that, is under the qualifications, there's those
And
qualifications.
then the thing about it, if you run into a hiccup, then we still have some time yet this year to maybe address it going into next year. Is the 5 hours gonna do it? Is the.
Correct. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yep. That was, the way I came up with the 5 hours is kind of our regional partners, if they don't have a FTE, a full-time employee designated to this, then that's kind of what they do, is it's busier during the budget time, they spend more time, but then it's, then it's just the other times of the year, you're talking more about invoices and hiring and procedure and some of those kinds of things.
Okay, any other discussion? I think it was a good idea, so, yeah, I'm all for it. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the adjustment on request. I think that's a great idea, so, thank you. Okay, last but not least, here we go. You ready? Okay, everybody sit down. Okay, here we go. So.
Are you starting out easy and going worse, or are we getting back the other direction? No, I'm sorry.
They're not hard, they're just more complex the deeper we get into this. Okay. So, I shared the graph that you see with, right in front of you, Mr. Meyer, that graph, if everybody could just look at that for half a second. So, I've shared this a multitude of times, is this graph shows you the explosion in cases that we've had in children's long-term support, okay? Take you back a bunch of years, we've had 2 positions in Health and Human Services that were combo positions. We had the birth to 3 coordinator, and we had a CLTS, Children's Long-Term Support Manager. That was a combo position. 2 years ago, we split that position, so we had full-time employment in CLTS, partially because in 19, you see our cases were starting to creep up, okay? So that happened. So we have a children's long-term support full-time worker, and then we have a birth to 3 contracted worker that's worked out outstandingly well. Fast forward, state of Wisconsin makes a decision that children's long-term support should no longer have a waiting list in the state of Wisconsin, okay? Kids that are physically disabled, mentally disabled, and may have some other kind of mental health cognition issue or developmental disability, okay? Rusk County says, hey, we're gonna screen everybody that comes through the door on referral, we're gonna get them service, we're not gonna do any kind of waiting list. This sheet shows you that the blue line has went from 29 kiddos, which we kinda capped it at 20 to 25. There were 29 kiddos in 2018 that we were serving. There is now 75 youth as of today that we are serving in this program. And so what the second side of this the second side of the combo position is in the Aging Disability Resource Center. The disability benefit specialist spends half of their time, actually on paper, 66% of their time in disability benefit specialist. The other 33% is children's long-term support. That's all the case managers that we have. 1 full-time employee, and then really somebody that's like a 1/3 time, okay? So my request is to split that position, disability benefit specialist, make it its own standalone position in the EDRC. And the caseload is, that person right now has 60 cases in the disability benefit specialist, helping people enroll for disability, helping them navigate all systems that they might be enduring. The other side of that, this person is now carrying, of the 75 cases, they're carrying 30 cases themselves of children's long-term support. That was supposed to be 5, okay? Because we had usually a cap of like 20. 15 would go to the person that was previously the birth to 3 and CLTS, and then 5 would go to that person. We now have 50 with the full-time employee, and we have essentially 30 with the person that's 1/3 time working in this position. So I'm at capacity, this person's at capacity, this person has also given their notice and they're no longer gonna work here anymore after the end of May. Okay, so it's really of the utmost, I'm not leveraging this on you, but I need to recruit to replace this position, and right now I would have to recruit as a dual role, okay? So the fiscal impact of this is very simply, currently, under the wage study for the county, the children's long-term support with full benefit package and all those kinds of things is $62,810.84. The disability benefit specialist is $73,689.94. Hold on, that's not right. Because the CLTS is at a higher rate.
What you're saying with benefits?
Yeah.
MTV.
Oh, I know, I get it. Okay, I can give you those numbers. At $23.30, it's $76,440.36. I had the wrong one highlighted, and I'll tell you why. And then the disability benefit specialist is $73,689.94. The difference, the one that I had highlighted here, is the current employee does not take a full insurance package. And so the current cost right now is like 58 to 60,000, but I can't budget that way when you're looking at replacing it. I have to budget as if they take a full insurance package. So the impact here, given the fact that the person gave notice that they're gonna leave this dual position, I have to look at 76,440 and I have to look at 73,689 as a part of my request. The big caveat here is if you go back to your grid, you can see that the first column, or actually that kind of mustard yellow line, is the case management revenue that offsets the cost of this position through Medicaid. Every time we have contacts with our family, they're Medicaid reimbursable through case management. And you can see that in the thousands of dollars in 2022, we had almost $80,000 in revenue. And so that's only going to increase if we have a separate full-time employee versus the versus what we have now with the 1.3, because we're still have this population that we're gonna serve, but we're gonna be able to spend more time with the families. I'm not trying to tug at your heartstrings, but that's the nuts and bolts of it. Okay, so again, super complex, but at the end of the day, this is what it is.
So we wouldn't be hiring a new employee, we'd be just changing job descriptions, or basically what they're doing, right?
No, we'd be, so when we did the Carlson Detman JDQ and the job description,
Yep.
we have both of those job descriptions, okay? CLTS, DBS. It just so happens that our position here at the county is a combined position, okay? And so all I'm asking,
It's to uncombine it, right? It's still
just
one,
to separate
it's the replacement is still gonna be only replacing one person, right?
correct.
Okay.
Correct. If, in an ideal world, before this person just gave their notice and said, hey, I'm gonna end my employment, they were interested in the CLTS position, where they would continue to be outstanding, and then we would hire for a DBS. So we're really looking at one FTE, like you're saying, is what we're looking at.
One new FTE,
It
or
would- no, it would
just on combining?
Just separating those duties so that each of them is an FTE. And so the ADRC budget is gonna take on that, the ADRC budget will take on that 73,689.94, which like I said, the numbers and all the research that I did with with Barron County, because we split this position, there's plenty of work there. This person has been full-time doing that as well as the CLTS. And then the CLTS budget with the case management revenue is going to, we have a CLTS separate budget within our budget that will track that and go from there. So this is a huge ask, you guys and gals. This is a big one, okay? I've always been a proponent of not having split positions, but the only reason we did this before is because we capped the caseload. We used to have 20 max. My predecessors would cap it at 20. We get to 20 in children's long-term support, that's all we had. One person had 15, the position we're talking about had 5 plus their ADRC duties. We no longer have that luxury. And so I'm here. This is where we're at with this. Sorry.
And what's your thoughts on when this would take effect? I mean, if it was,
Well,
it would have to go to board yet, but.
yeah, tomorrow.
We would like it to go to the board.
I need to recruit.
And you can't recruit until it
Yeah.
changes, right? Cause if you know it's gonna change in a month, then you can't really recruit for the old position.
Correct. And there's another little caveat here, is, if we were to recruit for the same position, once they come in, I don't think we'll get many applicants, because the ask is almost unrealistic. We can't keep pace, even with our new CCS people, we can't keep pace unless we split this, because the recommended caseload by the state is like 30 to 40. We got one person with 50, and we already have a person with 30. Okay, and so it's, between the two, we're gonna be in a much better spot. If we have a second full-time employee for children's long-term support and the additional CCS folks that you guys let me bring in-house, we'll be able to serve that population and catch up.
So I guess what's our total fiscal impact and where's it coming from?
So the actual fiscal impact of the levy is hard to figure, but most of that CLTS is recoverable through, the WIM curve reporting, similar to the CCS.
Yeah, so deficit reduction plan that we submit annually, plus the Medicaid reimbursement, I will not sit here and tell you that that is 100% gonna pay for it like CCS, okay? But it's, that combined effort with productivity is gonna take care of a lot of that 76,440. Between the deficit reduction and the case management, that's gonna take care of a lot of that cost.
Were you hoping around 60%? Is that a
Yes.
correct number?
Good memory.
You were
That's
hoping
super
somewhere
good.
around the 60-some% range. I'm not gonna hold you to it, but.
For comprehensive community services, Mr. Meyer, we hold firm on 60% productivity. That takes into account all of their billable time, their PTO, and the vacation and all that kind of stuff on a rolling average of 60%. That's where we are most successful, not only with the customer base, but fiscally responsible.
But reimbursable from.
100%.
Okay.
100%, yes. It's 100% reimbursable, but
No,
I
I'm
can
talking about the
remember-
CLTS, but
Yeah.
what percent you were, because you, at the personnel meeting, you threw out numbers as far as what you estimated levy impact to be.
yeah, 60% productivity and children's long-term support will be a piece of cake. They're probably gonna be more in that 80% because they're, other than their onboarding and their training, they're 100% all in on children's long-term support cases. They're not gonna do anything else. That's the sole focus of their work.
But just to make sure we're on the same page, so what I meant to say was, so what we would get back in grant funding or billable to Medicare, that type of stuff, the county's gonna be roughly in the 40% range levy. I mean, I'm putting you out there,
Saying
but,
it is kind of like that, yeah, so.
so about 40% of it, we're hoping to get 60% reimbursed, just to make sure we're on the same
Yeah,
page, okay?
and based on the WIMCR and the deficit reduction, and having a separate budget now where we can charge some indirects and all these other things to this formula that we create, excuse me, yeah, that's the easiest way to say it, but I think there's a component here where, I'm trying to think of how to say this, I think it'll be much higher, only because we're better at claiming the rate of what our cost is. And so for a number of years, I don't know how we missed this, but there was like an AMSO overhead cost that we weren't calculating in our children's long-term support rate. I don't know, we went from $85 to $105 per hour Medicaid reimbursability, just because we added that section. I don't know how they got missed, okay? But we're claiming it now so that our rates for reimbursement are $105 for every hour that these staff people put in, okay? It used to be 85, so right there, we're talking $20 every hour they're doing. And so we're much better at capturing the revenue that's available through the state.
So right now with the workload, it'd probably almost be safe to say that we're at 100% reimbursable from the state, just for base, and then some. But we're overworking the individual with what they have.
And if we think about that from that standpoint, both of the FTEs are going to be able to spend more time with their families, more quality time with their families, rather than just putting out fires. And so I think we'll have a better product that we're rolling out to our children's long-term support families. This is a huge ask. Again, like I said, they get more complex as the longer I sit here, but this is probably the most important thing I've walked through the process. I mean, seriously, this impacts our continuum of care. Again, not trying to tug on your heartstrings, but this is our continuum of care. Families come into our department, birth to 3, okay? They've got difficulties, they come into our department. Children's long-term support is like H4 and transitioning through that continuum to end of life. And so if we can, the quicker we catch them, the quicker we can serve them and get them on the right track, the better success we have as a long-term model. And so to me, that just seems like common sense, but there's dollars and cents here that are super important. So if you approve this, what we'd wanna do is we'd wanna get this to the board, like, the next meeting on a resolution. Because this has went through my committee, my board, this went through personnel, we already have the job descriptions that are there. And here I am chucking my big old self on the mercy of the finance committee. You could cut my salary if you want, they'll pay me.
So motion would be in order to forward this request to the county board for approval.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by Tony, second by Jim. Any more discussion, any other questions?
Do we wanna be super specific about this motion, is there anything that, I mean, I just think the easier it is to write a resolution based on the fact that.
She's got it written to separate children's long-term support disability specialist position with fiscal impact of 76,440.36 with possibility of 60% reimbursement through Medicare.
Is that good?
That's good.
And can we say something about forwarding to county board?
Yes, I was gonna put that up.
Okay, for approval.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. And motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you're done with me unless there's questions.
Well, we're trying to figure out who the resolution should come from. Randy, can this resolution come from finance, or does it need to come from personnel? Cause personnel forwarded it to finance.
It could be signed by both, either one, I think.
Either one, okay. Right,
Yeah, and we could say that, the resolution could say that,
went through
gone
both.
through, yeah,
Or actually, it went through three,
three, yeah.
Really?
committees, yeah.
Approved by the Human Services Board and
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any other questions? You're done with me.
You're done with us.
You're done with me, and it's only Tuesday. Okay, thank you.
We don't wanna see you again for just a little bit, other than to say hi.
I was gonna say, I'll stop by and say hi, but I got.
No.
The,
It
I
is what it
really,
is, Jeremy.
I really then will work with Ashley and Jamie in reference to the
Yeah, I
deputy
just told them
director
that we're gonna do it.
to get that going, because we'll wanna get notice out to my squad to say, if you're interested, you need to send a letter, do some process and go from there.
Perfect.
Okay. Hey, you guys are the greatest. Thanks for coming to work today.
Same to you.
Even if you said no today, I was gonna say thank you.
But would you mean it?
I would have meant every word of it.
I believe you would've.
Have a nice day, you guys. Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
Jeremy.
Thank you. Take care.
Additional ARPA request.
Okay, and then this also kind of ties in with the second addendum. So, there was that other resolution that you guys wanted to table for now in the, for additional ARPA request, but at property last Friday, the property committee was brought from the fair committee, the bleachers that were initially allocated out of ARPA funds, there were 7 sets of bleachers for $40,000 that were allocated. Well, there were some issues with the bleachers, there was a big mix-up with the vendor where they had misquoted the cost of the bleachers. And Charmaine was able to buy some bleachers last fall, on an auction really cheap, so they decided that they can get by without extra bleachers, but they would like to reallocate that $40,000 towards concrete in the multi-purpose building, because there's like a record number of pigs coming for the fair this year, and they are going to have to use that building for the pigs, but they wanna put concrete in there so that it doesn't stink up the building, so they can pressure wash the concrete when it's all done. So that.
Used for weddings.
It'll be used for weddings, cause if they start stinking it up, nobody's gonna wanna have a wedding in there, and things make a big mess, and, so it's not spending additional ARPA funds, it's just reallocating ARPA funds that were designated for those bleachers.
I think that's the responsible thing to do. If somebody sees that, this was budgeted for this, but it was actually better use in a different area, and they did their research and found out that, it was better use for concrete, I would agree that this would be a wise transfer of, now instead of using it on this, we can use it for the concrete. So I would make that motion.
The only caveat is that, 40,000 is only gonna be about enough to do 2/3 of the building. It's a one 50, is it, or by 75 or whatever?
Isn't the request to do at least half?
It was, but,
It'll do more than that.
It'll do more, but I think we're gonna put it at least half, cause we know for sure we can do half, and then we can see how far we can go from there.
unless we wanted, there was also discussion of possibly increasing that to, enough to do the whole thing.
I think that would be wise, excuse me, to do the whole thing, get it done at once. Otherwise, if you're gonna have pigs on the part with the gravel and the dirt,
You're talking the building that we have out there now.
Well, yeah,
Multi-purpose building, yeah,
multi-purpose.
there's a dirt, I think just a dirt floor and all of it now.
Just dirt floor.
and I'm afraid if you do just half, you're still gonna have the smell of the pigs when you have other occasions in there.
Well, and I think it makes sense if we do the whole thing, even though it's gonna spend a little more than we initially anticipated. The fact is that you're gonna have one nice continuous
Yeah.
surface instead of something split, but working.
But
Then
then we'd have
joints
to
is
It's gonna
change
be a
that,
tripping hazard if you have.
we'd have to change that to more than 40,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It would
So anyway, and there's a chance that you might get some volunteer work or some,
We will.
some, donation time, or whatever you wanna call it, to cut that expense, but even if it didn't, I think the anticipated amount was around 60,000. 62,000
The whole thing.
for the whole thing.
So has anybody thought about this? How are you going to finish the concrete? If you go and broom it, make it rough, it's gonna be probably a little bit of a bugger to clean or dance on. You make it slippery, animals are gonna end up with two legs going each direction, that's not gonna work. The rougher it is, the harder it's gonna be to clean. You're gonna end up going in there and probably sweeping the whole thing with a power sweeper or something. That'd probably be the simplest way and the fastest way to clean it for a wedding. You know what I mean? So you might be better off to go the rough and just have a backup plan of
They talked about
Sweep.
pressure washing it, so I mean,
pressure washing's gonna take hours.
Huh?
Pressure washing's gonna take hours.
Oh.
I mean, that's big building.
yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
You go in and pressure wash that for every event and we're getting how much to rent it out? I was
Well,
gonna-
but if the fair is responsible for cleaning it after
Yeah,
And we do.
it wouldn't be up to,
our
Or-
maintenance.
And you might be able to just go in there with a broom like the highway department uses, I don't know, that might be an option. But then, if we thought that was an option, then you might wanna be a little more aggressive. I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying though? Because if you go too easy on the brushing, then the broom will just take it right off in a couple times.
You're talking about a room finish on the concrete?
Yeah, like you just,
When they- yep, yep.
yeah, because you can't have it smooth and polished, because animals are not gonna be able to
Right.
walk out.
yeah,
You want John Runs to.
You don't want
down.
it polished, but you can have it, you can have it troweled down and kind of floated, which is not as near as slippery, but yet it's still smoother than a boom.
The other thing you could do is lime the heck out of it before animals came in. That's gonna make it a lot easier to clean,
Right,
yeah.
that's probably the best alternative.
and it'd keep it from being as slippery, but yet it wouldn't be so aggressive that,
Yeah, but
Could
then
use
if
it
you
for
go to your
workshops.
wedding and you got lime down, is that,
well, if it gets broomed out or gets,
Oh,
washed
makes
out,
sense.
it'll be gone.
They don't take much abrasive to make a surface.
Right.
Grab, where you can grab, where it's got some traction.
Right.
You might even use something like sand instead.
Probably have to look at what some other counties do,
Right.
cause I know other ones are doing it.
But I just thought it would make sense to just do the whole floor in one shot rather than
Piecing it.
piecing.
Yeah, somebody brought up that maybe we shouldn't do the ring, but you know what? The ring's the least of my worries. Because that's where a foot of sawdust goes in there and everything gets cleaned up afterwards, is where the animals are actually gonna lay, that's where the issue's gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion that we ask for additional funding to finish the cement work.
so you're saying you wanna reallocate the 40,000 and then add,
40,000 plus add enough to finish the building completely.
How much?
which would, you'd have to put a price amount on that.
Should John Runstrom has everything.
Was there any, wasn't there some funds that allocated for that in the first place? For that?
They were for the bleachers, I'm not sure if there was
No,
for the floor.
no, there wasn't for that.
I'm not sure if there was. for the
Was it
floor.
up to like 45 for the bleachers or something?
I thought we went up to 40,000,
Forty thousand for the bleachers.
Okay.
and then, but I don't think there was anything allocated for the floor itself.
No, it was just for the bleachers, but I didn't remember if it was 40 or 45.
So John Runson's got the number. He's
She's
got-
looking at it.
But it was still have to be put out on bids, but,
You did put out 2 requests as well.
okay.
I'm trying to think, did that get sent out in our property packets, or did John bring that in?
He might have brought it in.
Cause I remember he had it, but I can't remember, if that was something or if I printed that out for packets, or if that was something he brought in, that might have been something.
Also, you know, in that motion, if we could get an okay to get as many, people to,
Volunteer.
well, there's gravel and stuff that people wanna donate as well.
So we're probably not really gonna be asking for that much extra if people will donate.
But you'll have to include the maximum possible, because if you come up short, then they.
I think you're gonna end up looking at, myself, I think it's gonna be, if you had to pay for it all, you'd be looking at roughly, 65,000 or so. Total.
I thought it was 56 from.
What's the size of that building, you know, or how many square feet are you looking at there?
Well, let's see, Jones, there it is. Here was the original quote you come up with, or big figures.
47 yards.
Yeah. I think it's a 175 by 50.
Johnny's coming, he's gonna bring his,
One
he's
second.
grabbing his figures.
Make sure it is 175 by
Figures.
50.
Oh.
Is that fair?
Are we gonna have lights and sound?
What is the size of it, Tony?
I think 175 by 50,
175?
yeah. I think that's what he said it was.
Alan, do you wanna sign this while we're waiting for Jenny? That was the ambulance.
Apparently they're looking at gravel base on that, or is that included?
I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we gotta
And,
be-
and we're gonna try to get donated gravel. We're gonna try to get some donated gravel.
I think they were talking, 15 on there, right?
Yeah.
He talks about how it's. There he is.
Yeah, so you're, I think what half the building, their estimate was at like 31,000.
Perfect, that's my favorite.
Well, 40,000.
I don't know, we should print that in 5 minutes.
Be over half.
This is one we handed out
Another
the other
one
day,
would be
and this is like, I guess, more of a,
60,000.
little bit more of a breakdown. Yeah, and if you guys want more, I can go get more of those too.
Yeah, that way. There
One
we
is
go.
like,
There you
it
go.
shows, both bids, the other one is, just kind of more of a breakdown of all the material and stuff. Huh?
That was the same thing.
You what?
Did you say you're welcome?
Oh.
I take you, Alan.
Oh,
No, I said,
Oh,
yeah.
no. It's literally for that.
This here is to do, this cost here was to do half of
So,
it.
so if we did the whole thing, it'd be
Um,
63, 345, 70, or maybe even less.
It'd be about
because-
57, but we did talk already, we'll probably end up getting like the gravel and probably get that donated to us. Rands or Thompsons do a lot of that. Same with excavating the clay out. Do you have any idea, by the way, how thick that clay might be? I don't know how much they put in there last year. They put some in there to kind of try to smooth it out. That's all gotta get pulled out. So the gravel, I estimated that on 6 inches. Might be able to get away with 4. But again, all the gravel's gonna get donated anyhow.
I'd like to have it so it's at least raised up enough inside the building so you don't get
Yeah.
water coming in?
We're gonna, and that's what we're gonna do is, raise it up and then have it sloped out towards the doors. Because like I said, when these kids get done showing at the end of the weekend, you know, they come in, I think it's Monday, is that correct? Did they come in to clean barns the Monday after? And they power wash it. So like the poultry barn now and other ones, they power wash them all, spray everything out. And then with it running out towards the doors, then we can run it out that east end and there's a culvert there and everything, we'll put it right to the waterways, so.
Would there be any chance of getting the gravel from the county at a cheaper price? Would they give us a deal, do you think, or not?
Well,
Yeah, but if we're getting it donated.
They might, but Rands will usually just donate it to
You
us.
think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
The other thing is to get it out of the county pit, then we gotta haul it,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
you just, you have to go to the highway department for all that, messing around. It depends how far they gotta haul it from. If they'll donate it, it looks farther ahead.
Is there anything figured here for the dirt work?
It's
To take out the
included,
clay?
it's included into their bids, yeah.
Okay.
Did you get one with both bids, Jim? Yeah, that top one?
Yeah.
It's included in there with them.
What's the big difference here between these two and at the bottom?
I guess just the rate that they charge. I don't know, everybody's different, so. So-
That's a big deal. Is the second one legit?
The
And
30
the lower one legit for 15.5?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to change it, it
That-
didn't say,
that-
it's, theirs is
include the
31,600. 31,600 should be that bottom one, cause
Oh.
I had to call him and he was,
Is that the one that didn't have the concrete figured in or something?
yeah, he said, and I called him and he said he had it figured in and I'm like, your concrete and material cost alone is over $9,000. And then he's like, oh, well, I thought that was coming, you know, and then he didn't know about, cause I had him include, you know, the dirt work and everything else. So then, I'm sorry, I printed that off a little hasty, cause he got back to me and, emailed me another bid and it was for 31,600. Which that then made more sense to me, so.
Is this,
This one. What's that?
this is the same,
No,
should be this.
this one here, just scratch it out, that one is 31,600. This here I have, with any project you do, a lot of guys say give or take, you know, 10%
Right.
is what you could go over or come under. And that's just what I did there, so.
That's allowing 10% over or also 10% under?
I have both figured in there, yeah, yeah.
So the 27.7 is the middle bit with, that's the bit. it's the
Yep,
middle,
yep.
the midpoint of the two.
Yep,
That's for half of it. So
That's-
you're pretty close there, 56.
it was, I think when I did, double it with the, and that was including the cost of the concrete, or not concrete, sorry, the cost of the gravel and everything. It was just over 57 to do the whole building,
Is this gonna be 4 or 5 inch?
4.
We're gonna be
Well-
enough, we're not gonna put nothing heavy in there some way down the road, are we?
We don't want anything too heavy.
Sometimes they have that circus in there. That's the building they use for that Stardust Circus, right?
What are they, I mean,
Elements?
you could, I mean, there's gonna be 1/2 inch rebar, 2 feet on center, and here you park it, or, you know, big mobile home on it without a problem.
I'm
Skid
just thinking
steers,
if down the
tractors.
road we ever decide to put some heavy equipment in there, you might be wishing you went 5.
Yeah, well, you can only, like, how heavy you thinking, Jim?
I have no
Cause the
clue.
doors, I think, are 12 feet high, so I don't even know that a dump truck can get in there.
Yeah, I have no clue, but, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't, but
That's a big slab though.
That's,
you know how things go here. We're not gonna redo this in 10 years.
Right.
So this is a one-time deal for probably the rest of our lives, so.
So
we-
if you add
I mean,
another inch
if
of
we're gonna
concrete,
do
you're
it,
gonna add,
pull your
if you add
calculator
another
up
inch
or
of concrete, you're gonna add,
calculator.
another 25% on for concrete.
I don't think it'd be that much. Cause don't forget, the labor's, it's not gonna cost you any more labor. Whether they're pouring 4 or 5, it's only gonna cost you for the concrete.
Smooth a foot of surface out compared to 5 inches, 4 inches, doesn't matter.
So.
Doesn't matter, I think it's gonna add maybe 10%, that's my gut telling me.
116. Yes.
I'm still not impressed with the deal of rebar every 2
No,
feet.
I'm not either.
That don't, to me, that,
There's quite a few I've heard nowadays that don't even rebar at all.
I like to see a mesh.
Well, they have that concrete that has the fiber in it that lets
Right.
it rebar,
I've
because
never
they
used
buy that concrete.
I used it before, I never used it.
I'd hate to
So-
see this, and maybe I'm being overcautious, but I just hate to see us spend this money and then
Have something.
crack up.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well,
maybe-
there's gonna be, there is gonna be, control joints put into this. So,
There's gonna be what?
control joints, so,
For
or
frost.
construction joints, so what'll happen, and no matter what you pour for concrete, it's gonna crack. Concrete cracks, that's just what it
Yeah.
does. That's the point of the rebar, and we're doing 1/2 inch, 2 feet on center, which is pretty standard, you're gonna find that in just about any building. But with your control joints, what you do is you control where the crack is, and then it creates a clean crack instead of some big jagged thing, if and when, I should say, it breaks. But the rebar in there then keeps it from shifting.
Right.
It holds it all in place, so, I mean, you can go 5 inches, I mean, that's totally up to you guys, but what you're looking at is with 4 inches, we're at about 93 yards of concrete, and 5 inches is 116. So, you're looking at 23, I mean, it's another $3,600 in concrete, and
To
then
go another inch,
to go another inch.
Yeah.
that's a no-brainer to
Cheap,
me.
cheap investment.
Yeah, that's,
That's a no-brainer to me.
Okay,
If you're
that's
gonna,
right.
if you're gonna do it, what, you know,
You're right.
Like you said, it ain't gonna cost any more to have it poured.
And then you'll be able to
Down.
park a Mack truck on it if
So
you
you'd be
want.
looking at 60,000
Be about 60,000, yeah.
versus, and we've already got 40 allocated for breaches, so you're
Mhm.
looking at a 20% increase.
Mhm. And like I said, and we can take off the cost of the, gravel out of there. It's gonna save us probably 1,500, $2,000. Same with the dirt work, if we can get somebody in there from Rands or Thompson's to just pull our clay out quick. I mean, with a skid steer, you're looking at probably half a day's work in there to just go in there and scoop that stuff out. I don't think it'll be all that hard. So it's not like it's out in weather where it's like rock hard. And then also, I mean, the one contractor I've spoken to, you know, has, you know, he's willing to obviously make a bit of a deal. He'd like his, you know, we brought this up. I brought it up with Haas too. I'm gonna talk to them about cutting us a deal on the concrete. And we put their name on the building as far, you know, concrete, you know, donated or sponsored by Haas Sons and, you know, whoever does the work. But the
so this
one,
bid could be less because
and
the
I
bid's
guarantee
including
it'll
the
be
concrete.
less. Yeah,
But are the people who bid on this aware that we may be trying to get them a reduced rate on the concrete?
I know one is, the other one, the Alesco Concrete, he said, yeah, I'm more than willing to work with you guys, on stuff. He does very good work. He's also just kind of starting up his own business. This would be a heck of a jump start for him.
Motion for it,
And then, I know him very well, and a few others on the board do, and we offered to help with that at no cost to us, obviously, cause that'd be conflict of interest, so.
then. Now, you put these out for bids or you just,
Those were put out for bids, so, when did we do that, Connie? March, February? Yeah, and those were the J&J and, was it J&J and Alesco were the only two that we got back for the concrete.
okay, so you wouldn't have to rebid it then?
I don't think we'd have to, we could, I guess it's up to you guys.
I'm just wondering if it has to be or not.
What is,
Well, it depends how long their bid is good for though, too.
Chad's is, the Alesco concrete is good till the end of this month, that's what he told me the other day, cause he asked about it, and I said, oh, it's going to, told him it was going to property next week, and then finance and then county board, so.
I'll just double check the financial procedures to make sure that changing what we're doing doesn't
Yeah.
affect that we have to re-put it out for bids.
That might have an effect.
It might, so just double check
Mhm.
before we say.
I would agree, cause if we're gonna go the whole building, I think you need something that states that we're doing the whole building, and do we want to, I guess if we're thinking about seeing if we can get a reduced rate on concrete, do we need the concrete and the labor separated? I don't know, I'm just asking.
That would be up to the contractor to where they get their concrete. wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Right, but he's getting billed for the concrete, so they've got no, he's paying for the concrete, so they've got no incentive to give him a discount
Well,
necessarily, but if we're paying for the concrete,
Well, there's advantage for us paying for the concrete because we're not pay sales tax on it,
But if,
for one thing.
if he's getting the concrete from wherever, if you tell him it's a county project and they discount it to the contractor, and he gives us that, to us, it's still the effect that,
Yeah.
wherever we get the concrete.
my guess is you might get a volume discount.
Like you said, coming
That's gonna
back
be
to the
a lot.
county, there'd be no sales tax on it.
yeah, and we can do it that way too, we can put it back out and I can talk to Haas too. I've talked to them already and they get, verbal agreement of, I guess what he said was, yeah, we do this kind of stuff, for, like the fairs and whatever all the time. Let me talk with the other business owners, and I said, well, so go ahead and then I'll get back to you on how things, I guess, roll out,
So we still have to go to full county board with this then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could, the only thing we can do right now, if you wanted to move it on, is go with up to this much.
Like $60,000?
That's what I was thinking.
And then proceed.
So you gotta pass.
Oh, you made that.
You gotta pass them to, yeah.
Adjustment.
Get a resolution, Bob, no. Don't need them all,
I can
you just
control-
need one.
I can control.
We'll send the paper with you when you wanna recycle it.
Once I
like
make
Phil.
my decision, I'll decide if I should give other people that.
Oh.
Well, I think this should give us quite a bit of bang for our buck. Oh, yeah.
Did you have a motion out there?
You had a motion, he had a motion.
Huh?
First, his motion was for 40.
Originally, I made the motion just to reallocate the 40.
Oh,
It would, that, at this point, I would say died, right?
Right.
So we'd need a motion for the
Additional
40, to reallocate the 40,
And
plus to add an
add
additional
20.
20.
Okay.
The resolution would cover that, wouldn't it?
Right. so
Yeah,
I could
but
just-
we need a motion on this resolution now.
Right.
Right,
Did you make that?
I did not.
To send it to,
I will.
Yeah, to amend the original resolution and.
we didn't vote on that original
No.
one. That was to, what did you write down for that?
Originally was basically this except without the 20,000, right? It was just to reallocate the 40,000 from the bleachers to use for concrete for this.
You included that.
Yeah, it was.
He included it.
Huh?
So he can, does his die or can he rescind it? His original motion.
Yeah, we
was
didn't
40.
vote on it yet, so.
Okay.
That died, nobody seconded it, so.
No,
Just
all
like
we
a
gotta
good
do
old
is,
Dose of mosquito.
I'm not making any more
There's a motion.
motions
Oh,
here.
really?
No second,
Really?
Everybody hates me.
No.
all we need, cause this explains it all here, the resolution.
Yeah. Okay, so Tony's making a motion on this resolution to reallocate the 40,000 and add an additional 20,000.
Another one.
You made that motion, right?
Yes.
Is it second?
Yeah.
Second by Al. Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Those opposed say no. That motion carries.
All good? Thank you much, y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Enjoy the spring weather.
Where is it?
Summer happened last week on Wednesday, I told you.
It's Friday.
Two or 3 days, I think.
Yeah, this is nice. I got like burnt in one spot.
So is property gonna instruct him then how they want the quotes or whatever then?
I mean, I think it just falls under the
Yeah,
financial
I would,
procedures manual.
yeah, we can do that. I would suggest that he just goes back with his original bids.
And double check the
And, yeah,
financial
and-
procedures policy.
And
See if we
remind him
can
that we're.
Save a couple grand here and there.
We're expanding it rather than, see what they'll do.
Did that packet, did everybody get this?
Get what?
Okay, we've got invoices
The
to approve.
packet.
I'm almost through. I'm at page
Tony,
30.
these ones, yeah, that looks like.
I did that.
You did?
Yeah.
Tony's signatures. Alan, Jim,
So we had a down payment on the bleacher contract, did we get that money?
Randy.
Yeah, actually, I had that highlighted too. Okay.
Oh, that's different.
Oh, that's for the rented ones, right?
Oh,
We pay that out of our,
You need to sign this one, yeah.
that needs to be signed.
This is the old one.
Okay, where was
I think it's on county board, isn't it?
Second page, the Amazon GPS receiver for LPD. So you Lisa?
Did it go to 100-13105, is that the account number?
Yeah, 13105, yep.
Okay, so that's AR, so we invoice them quarterly to, anything that's in that account gets invoiced to them quarterly and they pay us back.
So they just, we were buying whatever, so we bought an extra one for them and
Or
they
they
just
just
paid us back.
asked us to order it, and that's something I think that needs to go to property going forward as far as what our policies and procedures are for, ordering things for other entities, because I had a town clerk call me this morning asking if we can have our IT department order them computers, and I said, I think that needs to go through property. That's something we want to, like a service that we want to offer to the townships.
Right, cause it's extra work for somebody ordering
Mhm.
stuff.
So, yeah, that's something that we can,
Can
Maybe
townships order their own and get the same tax breaks that we do?
they do, but this particular township doesn't have a credit card,
No, pretty much did.
yeah. So, I think, I mean,
And maybe that'd be something to discuss with the different department heads too, you know, is Bugs comfortable, you know, is it extra work for him, I mean, is he able to keep up on the current work, you know, for the police department? You know, maybe that'd be a discussion in the future then. Heartland Business Systems for the Teams license. Do we actually have a Teams subscription, or is it just for some people? Cause I know we got the Outlook, but I always thought that we didn't have Teams.
we did during COVID, I don't think my login works anymore. What
Cause
account-
remember when we met with, the AOPA guys, I was worried because we didn't have Teams, but they were able to call up
Oh,
our Teams
uh-huh.
or whatever. And I was just wondering because of my
What
understanding.
account number is that one hitting?
2508954609216.
Okay, so that's ADRC, so maybe it's just that department that has it.
Wow, then there's quite a few of them here. Then there's 100-76-52111-340 IT equipment. I guess the rest are all health and human services.
Yeah, so they must just utilize it.
So those licenses are just set for those specific, whatever individual needs it really for, I'm assuming in health and human services, they're probably having more teams meetings or something.
That's possible. I'm not entirely sure on that one.
I mean, it's not like they're huge dollar amounts for the license, I was just more curious.
See the jail and dispatch bought scissors.
I made sure they're not running with them, Jim, it's okay.
I would think that's a department you want scissors, period, but who am I to say?
And then,
On the command central, you've got, the coding and backup and custody. That's all part of every election, I think, right?
So chain of custody was scaled back, all the townships, coding because there was 4 screens. So there's a judicial screen, there's resolutions, there was a school district screen, and there was a municipality screen. So the I bill that out to the municipalities because they were part of that. So that all gets, we just sent the billing out today, actually. Yeah.
Now, we had some discussion before about, maybe IT being able to do some of this, is that?
I've been trying with Command Central. I've been trying. They don't wanna give that up. I gotta talk to Ashley about it a little bit. It's 60-some thousand for the software. And I've gotta talk to them. Neil said possibly Zoom. He'd like to do that. We can start there, but yep, we've been talking.
Good question, that one.
well, wasn't that why we hired a third IT person? So we need to get that done right away.
Well, we don't have anything till next year. But it's gonna take that long to get through it. So.
Gotcha. So like Oscar Summerfield, our contract corporate counsel, there's 3 different lines for that. Is that,
We pay them every 2 weeks.
so this is just 6 weeks worth of pay?
They're all the
Cause
same, right?
then, well,
Well,
the
okay, wait a
third
minute.
one
There's
is
one for HHS.
is $14.50, okay.
So, yeah, for guardianship, that kind of, those cases. he
And
does
so that's on a
HHS
case
directly.
basis then?
Yeah, case or hourly.
That's not as
Yeah.
contracted?
It's 3,000 some that we pay every 2 weeks for courthouse, court counsel.
Gates building, door lock and handle, sheriff's storage building, and we have a door handle break or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with that, the door handle, the gates for sheriff.
Unless they're changing locks and they couldn't rekey the current one that was on it.
We didn't ask Gary what that was about.
I see, there's charge of for joint management, gate maintenance for a thermostat, items like that. Are we getting reimbursed then from the mining funds?
The mining fund trues up our mining fund trues up everything. We haven't been settling up with the city.
The city
So-
has their own mining fund, don't they?
Yes,
Or they
but I
did,
don't know.
maybe they spent it, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what their balance is or anything like
So
that.
did they start out with the same amount of money in their mining fund as the county did or not?
I don't know.
I doubt it, cause I think it would be based on what portion
There are
of
2 mining funds, right?
of
Well, there
whatever
were
they.
3 total, weren't there? Didn't Town of Grant get one? City of Ladysmith and the county?
Yeah,
They may have.
I believe so,
I think,
I
yeah.
believe so, cause they annexed, I think the city annexed part of the land that the mine was going on, so they could get in on some of that mining funds too. So, but I'm sure I would guess they're not equal amounts, everybody probably got different pieces of that cookie. Just a guess, I don't know that is not
What about
educated.
the industrial rail yard, though? That's Rusk County alone, isn't it?
Yes.
In Rusk, industrial.
In the industrial park, No, but the Tony rail yard is ours alone.
That's what I'm talking about, so I'm.
Okay,
I'm-
yeah.
so-
Well, I thought the city stuck some money into that thing.
Oh, I hope not.
No,
I don't think
no,
it
that's
is.
just ours.
That
No.
was grant money, wasn't it?
I had to go to Chicago
Yeah, I went with you.
for that, and it was Andy Albrado, myself,
Mhm.
Al Christensen, and, Larry Gotham.
But he might have just been tagging along for whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was.
It's not listed as part of our joint management properties, it's not.
I hope it isn't.
Replacing the loading dock at Fritz Avenue,
Yeah, I seen that too, Black Lighters.
yeah, 13,000.
And that one, the city is going to reimburse us for. I have to invoice them for it.
There's one here for Gates Avenue for utilities or something. That wasn't, I had it marked, I thought. Now, they are supposed to.
Did we, the replacing the loading dock though, was there a loading dock that had been out of service for a while and was going back online to make it more usable for?
It was approved back in
What
August.
page you on?
Let me look at the August.
Page
joint
16.
management meeting.
16?
And we're like 5 lines down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Or 6.
I think it's attachment.
Come on, there's work.
We talked about that rail yard, was that on, the property committee? There was, what was up
There
on
was
that?
something, yeah, it's,
Was there
there was a offer to buy it, wasn't there?
On which property?
The rail yard.
In Tony.
Yeah, there are two people I've been talking to that are interested in buying it, but they want us to make a move first before they just throw a number out. So at
Okay.
property, you guys voted to put an RFP out, but I still have to look into,
RFP to do what?
to see what someone would do with the rail yard. Because I think we would like it to stay like timber focused.
Or anything that would bring a positive economic impact. We just don't wanna sell it to somebody who's just gonna hold a bunch of land for no
Right.
reason. We wanna, somebody who's gonna have a positive impact for the community.
Yeah, I saw
But
that.
Excel was interested in 11 acres, right?
Excel was interested in the 11 acres. Another person is interested in the 11 acres or all of it. And then a third person was interested in all of it. But because of what the economy is doing, their interest may have fallen off now.
I thought it was somebody that was interested in that rail spur too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, I'm including that in the 11 acres.
Yeah.
I was at a land auction a couple weeks ago
We'll have conversation on that issue.
and land is a very hot topic.
The one person was in my office like a month ago about it.
Oh, okay.
He visits me monthly, asking what the progress is.
Okay.
But do you remember, so Al Christensen from the
I
city.
should just
that
give,
one
I
I
should
see,
just
yeah,
give you my
was talking
papers with my
about there
highlights
was
and
an
you can go
EDA
through.
grant
Yeah, I
used
say
on
we
the
can,
rail
I
yard?
could email the
Okay.
invoice, well, you can
An
pull
EDA
those
grant
invoices
on
up
the
too.
rail yard?
On a.
How about?
Yeah.
They can have a
An EDA
development.
grant?
They can
Yeah,
have
he
a
was.
development.
There is, do you remember what year that was?
Let's see,
Andy told me, I can't remember.
Like 06, 08,
Yeah, see, he's
Somewhere in
been
there.
could be in that area.
okay, I just need to know where to look for that. Because we can't sell it.
Yeah,
then
there
if
was
it's
an
under
EDA
that.
grant on that.
Have we had that more than 10, 12 years? I wanna say it's 10.
Oh, probably.
I had this
Yeah,
conversation
I
with
think
Andy
probably
once,
is.
Fix that.
but I mean around 2010, I mean, maybe,
Oh,
that'd be 12, 13, going on 13.
that could be.
Okay. Alright, yeah, I have to find that document before we proceed, just to see if we're still under a lien for that grant.
This might be actually a question. Naval Surface Warfare Center Night Vision Goggle Renewal.
Night vision goggles.
Sheriff Investment Supplies. Do you know what that's for?
That's probably for investigators at night needing to look at.
Well, it says a
stuff.
renewal.
It's probably a subscription to the goggles.
Like rental goggles?
Or maybe the software or something.
There's software, I guess I never, I've never used night vision goggles, so I guess I don't know how that works. That's why I was wondering why it was a renewal. My view point was not coming up, but I think I got internet issues or something. Ask Phil, I'd be curious to find out. Just out of curiosity.
Alright.
One thirty, 2:30, otherwise that's it.
Okay, I have interviews with noon, so, 3 o'clock. Sure. Then we can't talk about it. I know we have to make a construction.
That Amazon membership really adds up. By the time you break it down to each department. I mean, it doesn't look like much when it goes to how many departments here, but you total it up, that's not a cheap little deal. That's gotta be like, that total Amazon thing's gotta be like 1,500, ain't it?
Was it one invoice or just a bunch of them?
Well, you got it broke down to each department by the looks of it.
Oh, for the annual, yes, it's
Yeah.
about that. But then that's free shipping.
Well, I'm sure it just seems like,
The Amazon business account, and also then our tax exemption is just tied right to it. And I can log in and I can find invoices for anything anybody ordered, so when Brittany can't find something for somebody purchased on a credit card, I can go in there and I can find it for her, so that is a huge, huge weight off her shoulders.
I'm sure we saved more than that, I mean, but.
I mean, there might be an option for a smaller package where you don't have as many users.
Yeah, for probably 12.
Cause I think we could have a lot more users than we actually do have on our account.
That'd be something we wanna look at, I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but. That's kind of a double whammy with them, I think they get cuts off the people that sell and then they charge us for membership. They didn't work their way up the
Yeah, I think it was
board at Wall Street by not making money, that's obvious.
1,299 was the total for the,
Okay.
business membership.
So we paid 13,000 to replace the loading dock at First Avenue?
Yeah,
Did they just do that now, the concrete?
yes, yeah,
It was the one that was approved back in August.
It sounded like there was a safety issue with that. The other one.
Yeah, I think that, from what I remember, was that where something was coming up and it was a tripping hazard or?
yes.
Yeah.
Did we have enough money in that fund?
That's the one that the city is going to reimburse us for. Because there was another significant repair, I believe, at that same time.
Why would they do that? I mean,
Well, they
good.
offered to pay for it directly, but then the costs would be hard to track, then we'd have costs, they'd have costs for actual, so when we look at the actual profit and loss for that property, it'd be harder to track, so that's why we did it that way. So I need to invoice them, but I was gonna wait till we actually paid it.
Is there any way that we have joint management with the city and a lot of buildings? Is there any legal way we can get out of that, split that up?
I think we're,
I think we actually tried it, or brought it out anyway.
Yes, and it it wasn't well received, but,
That's not the point.
okay.
I'm asking, is there a legal way we can do it?
Yes. Are you talking legally? Yes.
And then we have to force the issue. Isn't it, with the county?
I think Rich was talking about, yeah, a way to
Well, I mean, just, it seems like this.
put it up for sale or something, or go to the highest bidder, or I don't remember what it is.
Seems to me that this is a bigger headache than it's worth.
Well, we have a meeting on Thursday,
I know.
yeah, so we can try to hash it out there, maybe.
Another store, open up another store.
Last summer, I had a business owner come to me that regarding, well, it was, one that owns Lemke on Burmeister came to me and discussed what he had to go through to obtain a building. And he said he was trying to get a building, it'd be best to talk to him, because I know I'm not remembering the story exactly, but he was pretty frustrated by the time he got done trying to obtain a building from the joint management. And he had to jump through a bunch of hoops, he finally got it before it was done, but I mean, if that's how it's gonna be ran, maybe we shouldn't be owning these buildings, maybe they should be going to, a realtor be selling the building, somebody wants to buy something, the business can buy it. Instead of jumping through all these hoops with government being involved.
Well,
We had, didn't we,
We sold
Andy was gonna, list them, we talked about
Oh,
putting them up through a
Minneapolis.
realtor.
company in Minneapolis, in fact, that's how we got it onto, we were listed with
Henry.
Conlon with, in that,
Henry Gunn.
Henry Rifle. Well, that, but I don't think there's anything active on it anymore.
But even the way Andy had described that, I remember I quizzed him pretty heavily that night at the board meeting. And first it appeared that we made all kinds of money having that building, and then when I kept questioning about interest and maintenance fees and this and that, finally I looked at him and I said, it sounds like we had enough for a dollar burger at McDonald's. And he looked right back at me, he goes, pretty much. And we were years into it,
I don't know what building Lemke Burmeister was talking about, but
It was something in town, I'd have to ask him, and I don't wanna get too much into detail, but I just know I had a conversation, and he was frustrated by the time he got done. And maybe he ended up getting something from the city, but I know there was some building in town here that benefited his business, and he had a hard time getting it done, and he finally got it done, was my understanding, before it ended. But if you ever see him, I guess quiz him, do the best thing. And this might have been 2 summers ago, but I know we had
So
a
that-
conversation.
That might have been going through Andy too then.
Well, Andy was here yet, but I know at that time, what he conveyed to me is he was very frustrated with the process of trying to obtain a building, and Andy was here yet. He felt that they had something else in mind, and he was put on the back burner. I mean, to sum it up, so. But that ain't doing, I mean, if somebody wants to, I don't know. It shouldn't matter what business, I mean, if we're trying to benefit business, it shouldn't matter what.
Well, I mean,
business, if they're
I
willing
guess
to
I
buy a
would,
piece of
I would
property.
take if 2 businesses wanted it and one was gonna have more of a benefit for the county, I would probably give precedence to the one that they create an extra 10 jobs, I guess, something like that.
Well, that part.
But yeah, I see what you're saying, I think that we probably don't need to be in the landlording business, cause we're not good at, we can hardly run a government, never mind getting into buildings and everything else.
Well, it just adds a huge burden, I think, to everybody involved,
Yeah.
both sides, city and county.
Just to have a tenant that don't pay any rent at all, that's.
I think I understand why
That's poor business.
I think I understand roughly why they started it. I think a lot of this was, I mean, maybe you remember, doesn't a lot of it go back and stem from what were we gonna do with the mine funds?
Yeah.
It was how we're gonna do this with the mine
And there was
funds,
some donated money, and so, I think we have to put up, matching funds or
And at the time, it was probably, yeah, you know, but not so sure if it benefits us now. But that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys did it, what,
Timelines on.
30, when was that done? In the 80s? I don't remember when the mine came through.
90s.
Rapid in the nineties.
Either the very late seventies or the early eighties.
When did you first start on the board, Randy? 1920.
I'll hold it down for you. But, yeah.
Well, Jim's gotta get going by 11:30, so.
Invoices are done, right? Anybody?
No, there's no motion yet.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
A second.
Okay, motion by Phil, second by Jim to authorize payment on the invoices. Any other discussion, any other questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That motion carries. So. Alright,
Is that the version we gotta sign?
No, got
You got,
two out of county
oh, you
travel.
got more.
Yeah, this is
I know
Jeremy,
this
so
is my
Verna
own.
and County both have
On the
conferences.
weekend, if there's, she got a copy to sign.
What?
you have to sign invoices?
You have one?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, where's it? Here, this.
I'm gonna go grab Verna and give her a report.
Connie,
Mm-hmm.
you can sign me up.
Oh, okay,
I'll let you know
will
now.
do.
We'll do your report while we're waiting.
Sure, I can do it. Oh, she's here.
There.
Anything exciting on your report?
No,
Where are you finding interest rates climbing to?
they're starting to come down, so I wanted to, I reached out to ADM for $750,000 for a 2-year, she come back, and they can do that at 4.8, it was like 5.15, so they're coming down, so I do wanna throw some money in there, quick, I think. The charge for that is $4,000, and I'm like, holy cow, but the return is,
That's the charge
Humongous.
for taking out early.
nope, that's not checking out
Well,
early,
that's the fee for ADM.
Yeah.
I get it.
that's their placement fee,
And this is where?
ADM.
ADM.
Yep. So I know I had talked to, Jamie, I'm like, God, do I go ahead and do it? Oh no, that's gotta be, okay by, finance, but I know you did allow me to get 4 million.
I think we've canceled some out and to.
I just did Royal Credit Union, we had them, and it was only like 500, where is it, 639,000. I did cash theirs out early, it was only at 0.80. We lost like $1,000, but we're gonna gain 15,000, so.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just
do
like,
think that's a no-brainer,
it-
so.
it kinda hurts to pay that out, but you know, in the
Yeah.
long run, I mean, I think this 2-year CD is gonna make us like $70,000, so then 4,000 doesn't really look like a lot. So that's what's going on, I really do think that, the pool has been going up a lot, and now this last month, it just went up a couple points. I noticed, I get a weekly report from other, CD places, they're starting to trend downwards, so. You know, most of them are like, 1 month, or not 1 year, 13 months, something like that, so I do want to go out and get those 2-year ones. Cause it's probably gonna be back down to 0.80 again or something, you know. I think right now we have like close to 130,000 in interest, just through April.
Any of them coming due in the near future?
Yeah, I have, one for Security Bank in New Auburn, and they're pretty good. I think that one probably can get renewed with them. They've been giving us some nicer rates. You know, like I said, if the locals are gonna do that for a longer term, that's where I'd rather be. Yeah, Cumberland is gonna be coming due. They're the ones who, let me just close the one without any kind of penalty and reopen for, 4% more. So that was pretty nice of them. So like I said, I'd like to keep it, local, if we can.
Let's see.
Did you wanna give, department an overview?
Sure, our tax deeds, so, that just seems like an ongoing thing, but I started out with 14, we had one person pay. There's some iffy ones on there, I just really think that they will come through on the last day to get those paid. So we're at 13 right now, their last day is going to be May 12th. Then there's a 30-day answer period, which I think, like, per state statutes, they're not supposed to redeem or pay and get their property back, but we do allow it because, you know, we don't want it. So there still will be that 30-day answer period,
After the 12th.
after the May 12th, and then,
I was talking to one of them that had said,
oh, okay. Yeah.
their mother was in a nursing home, so they.
Oh, right, but I think they think there's a lien on it, and there's not. We have not seen a lien, so if they think that they owe the nursing home, that's what they're thinking. I've not found a lien on it, so. But anyway, so I'm assuming that we'll probably take those July 1st or around that time. Next month, I'll know more, of who will be more likely that we will take, and then bring that to you to just get the okay, you know, let's just see what it looks like or whatever. So we don't have anything, you know, like last year we had, you know, the big place over here that had loans, and we had state liens, federal tax liens. We don't have any of that this year, so I'm really happy about that. Our plat book, of course, that's in the making right now. We hadn't heard from them for a while, so Rebecca contacted them, and they had been reaching out to John for information and not letting Rebecca know. They're supposed to go through Rebecca. John wasn't getting them the information too quickly. So now we kind of got that all settled. It's got to come through Rebecca to get the information. We still are thinking that it's going to be probably this time next month that we get the information back, so we can check all of it to make sure. We will have 21 days to look at each parcel to make sure that it is correct as much as we can. So,
Does any of it like have to go through INREM, or, you know, like with Rich? Any liens on any of this property that?
on the tax deed properties, well, they all, I guess I kind of lost what you're asking here.
Well,
I just
we
was
had
talking about
some
plat book.
in years past where there was like a federal tax lien on it.
I don't have any of those
They
this
have
year.
to go through INREM too.
These are all going through NREM.
They all
Yep,
go through.
Yep, they all are. Yeah, which is supposed to get rid of all the liens, but then there's that new Act 216 that
do we still have payments that we need to make for the tax deed sales in 20?
I am trying to get the information from him. I just sent out another letter to SBA, which would be for payment of the laundromat. I've had contact with him through emails and it's not very good at getting back. The thing is, it might not even be there that it's owed because, you know, she was going through, bankruptcy. I kind of think that it might end up all going to her. I don't know. It's something that is, I never thought we'd have to do.
Somebody has to claim it though, right? I mean, you don't just up and send it out.
Well, I think that we could. I think we could just like send it out to, most of the counties are just sending it out to the property owner. Just throwing out money, and then if they don't cash it, then in 5 years, it's back on our record, you know, it's back to us. Where we are going and paying liens, which to me is harder. But I wouldn't wanna really pay the property owner either and then have a lien holder say, hey, well, you know, why did you give them the money when they owed it? I don't know. It's a mess. So, yeah, I'm still kinda waiting. And I was gonna have to talk to you, cause I know you want W-9s. That was one thing that was holding us all up. I think there's I'll have to get a hold. There's something that claims that possibly we don't need a W-9 to pay those out. I'll get.
I mean, it's our policy that we have
Right.
to have them, so.
Right, and so that is another holdup, cause I sent out, letters to, this is what you're gonna get, we need a, signed W-9 and haven't gotten anything back, so.
I have not heard anything about rescinding that new process that the legislature.
Or revamping it, so it's a little
Yeah.
more understandable.
And then something that came out of department heads last week is that, you know, a lot of department heads kind of felt like maybe their committee members didn't really know everything that their departments do, so we kind of wanted to just, each of us take a turn and kind of briefly tell you, you know, all the services, everything that our departments are responsible for, if you don't mind.
Now, hang on, I got something for y'all.
Buckle up.
Is this show and tell now?
Yeah,
Sweet.
sorry, we didn't.
Can't we do this when they do their yearly to the court?
We're not doing that this year.
No. Okay.
We're trying something different.
God, the wheel was started square, got it to run out, now you wanna go back down, I don't know.
Okay, next year I'll bring it back for you if this doesn't work.
Oh, you
It's not
just
a
take
big-
one and pass them down, this will tell you everything we do. And it's all true.
Was it written by you?
Yeah, you know, we put it together as a, county treasurers association, so. But of course, the biggest thing, you know, we do is collect taxes.
I write you a lot of checks, it seems like.
But tax deed is really kind of big and up there. We do a lot of, social work. I don't know if you, like I said, it's just all true in here.
Well, maybe the night vision goggles are for her.
I don't know if you're a social worker, but you didn't end up being a listener.
Well, exactly. I mean, you hear a lot of,
Yeah.
yep,
People.
hard luck stories for sure, yep. Yeah.
And speaking of your association, you've got a other county
Yep.
travel request here, so.
Yep.
Where's that for May 31st through June 2nd, $295.
I'm just gonna stay one night, cause it's in Eau Claire. I'll stay the one night that we have our actual,
And then actually Connie has one for the County Clerks Association. Summer Tour Conference, June 19th through the 22nd at Wausau, and hers is $457, so.
You want that together or separate?
You can do them together if you want, or if you wanna do them separate, that's okay.
I'll make a motion to approve them both.
Okay, second. Got a motion by Tony and second by Phil to approve the out-of-county travel requests. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Or do you have a question?
No.
He made the second, but I'm okay taking credit for it.
Motion carries. Okay, any other questions for Verna then? I guess that's.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, great, thanks.
Keep watering those trees. Money trees.
Yeah, the money trees.
Okay, so Ashley, do you have anything you wanna?
Let's see. Joint management meets on Thursday of this week, and it looks like we might meet again Thursday of next week, and we're going to discuss the agreements that were supposed to be in place but maybe have not been followed for the
What
last
time?
several
What,
years.
this Thursday?
It's 3 o'clock, aren't they?
What time?
3.
3?
The 20th at 3 and then the 27th at 3. Ad hoc committee updates. Al and I and the sheriff and George are going to be interviewing the firms that responded to our RFP. 2 for architect, 2 for construction manager. Those interviews are at the end of next week, and then we're gonna bring a recommendation back to the county board for further action, or not. Okay, thank you, Phil. The hospital, we voted at county board last week to move forward with demolition. So We Energies and Excel have been in contact with me about turning off utilities. However, last week at property, we decided to hold off on turning off the utilities until we went through all of our shutdown procedures, because we think the asbestos people are gonna need electricity. So, now we're gonna kind of play that more by ear. Once we are able to turn off a utility, we will. But it's not gonna be a hard May 1st anymore. Yes, that's all I've got. Is there anything off the top of your head, Randy?
When was the interviews for,
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
when was the interviews for the RFP for the jail and all that again?
Next Thursday, starting at 9, and Friday starting at 9.
Although, yeah, that, you had an offer on that,
501 Downey Road.
well, no,
Oh.
the parking lot area, by the, or
Right,
fine arts property.
yes,
And
we
I don't
can't
know,
act on
we
that.
can't, because we have to come to an agreement on those lots.
Yes,
Because there are lots, but they're leased.
yep, exactly, so. And then we have an offer on one of the industrial park buildings that's jointly owned, that
Which one would that be?
501 Dowdy.
Oh,
It's
501.
Forest 2, I think. The one that Oak Pros is in. I think that's Forest 2.
501.
So that will be brought to joint management on Thursday.
That'll be on the first joint management, this
Yes.
comes as.
Well,
Dowdy is one.
it should be, oh, sorry, Forest 1.
I can't repeat them straight.
Either one is Dowdy, one is Jazz, I don't know. It should be for action on the agenda for this Thursday, but there's no closed session. So if that's not amended, we'll have to do it the following Thursday.
Got my tip.
You said you can't act on the claim?
No, on the offer we got from that company out of Milwaukee, cause those parcels got the lease
Family
on them.
members in the back on the claim.
No, I have,
That's not really a topic for today.
right, but we can't talk about that in open. But we'll have an update for county board next week.
Right here.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, any other questions for Ashley? No? Okay, we'll do the clerk's report then.
Okay, so we are currently at a $5 late fee until July 1st, when it increases to 30, then people get a little excited. Hopefully we're reaching everybody to get in, to get their dog license paid. Marriage license, we have 9 for 2023. Elections, February and April are closed out with the state. Billing has been sent out for February election, April election billing will go out today. All the agendas and the minutes are, being retained in our office. Tracy has taken on the county website to post all the agendas and minutes. Packets as they are emailed to her. And, running a full staff and it's going really well. That's about it.
You wanna do a department overview, is there anything you want to add, or?
Not today.
It said department
Well,
overview.
just, it doesn't have to be super formal, but.
Oh, so I think that, I mean, at some point, the window got put in, we're gonna take that task on as well. So,
Take what?
that task on is when people come into this door, that, I mean, they're starting to stop more and more, which is really nice, because the elevator's right there, the doors are right there, we can tell them where they have to go or whatever. So that, we're doing a lot of public records requests. We're doing, the agendas and minutes, like I said, we took on the website for that part of it as well, to make sure that's, getting done as we're getting things. The agendas and the minutes for all departments, not just the ones I take minutes for, we're taking care of all of it, so that is mainstream through our office now. Keeping the vault up to date, with contracts, any of that stuff, so that if somebody needs something and they have a request, we can give that to them, with ease, hopefully.
You're kinda like the reception for anything in the building in a way. Even new county board members, I know, especially when I was new, I'd be like, how do I do anything, who do I talk to? And you'd be, go do this, go do that, you know, I wanna do this, tell me how, you know, so.
Yeah.
Not only just for the public, but even inside for new people, it seems like,
Right.
at least for me, I know when I was on
That's
board.
good. Hopefully that we're there to help.
Yeah.
You know, Jill's been with me for a year and a half, and Tracy is actually a clerk in Chippewa County. All of that helps. That helps with all of it, so that, you know, if we get those phone calls, we can take care of all that, so, yeah. We're pretty busy. Some days it's nonstop, but that's good. I like to keep it that way, so. That's about it.
Okay, finance director.
Let me know if you guys have questions on the sales tax report or collection back taxes. We're starting to, do year-end budget transfers. I'm hoping next month to bring you guys, requests for transfers out of contingency for 2022, and then also have a resolution put together to forward to county board for budget amendments for budgets that were in excess of the 10% of expenditures for 2022. We're still working with departments to try to get their grant documentation so we can get those closed out. I'm going to be working on the annual ARPA report, getting that done. That's due at the end of this month, and then our annual financial report with the state is due middle of March, so that we'll be working on that. Our audit is scheduled for June. They're only planning to be on site for a few days and work remotely the rest of it. I've told them that I would really, that I expect to have draft financials by the middle of August to review, so that we have time to get those reviewed before they have to be officially filed by the end of September. Other than that, I don't think, still working on getting an ambulance. I haven't heard anything more from the expert billing, but Rich had given them, I believe, until the end of this month to get things in order. I don't have high hopes that they will. Then we can move forward with just taking things back and having to get those balances cleaned up. Because he did send a letter and they responded back right away, like, we need till the end of April, and we said okay. But I still haven't been able to close out ambulance for 2022, cause they don't have their December reports, although I have asked for them. As far as the department overview, just, kind of you guys probably know everything that our department does, but, Brittany handles our accounts payable and payroll. She's also kind of doing some of the HR duties right now with, getting new employees set up. She's training on that, hopefully, some of that'll transition back out once we get somebody in the HR position. Sky is taking care of most of the journal entries. She's helping with review, when I'm not around with payroll. She's also very heavily involved with the highway accounting still. Her and Emily just finished up the, annual report for highway for 22, and are getting that submitted with the state. Emily's out at highway, and she's also over here about 1 day a week or so helping with HR stuff, so she's meeting with the new employees, while we're in this transition period to get them on board, get their forms filled out, inform them of health insurance, that sort of thing. Ashley's handling most of the big picture HR things, the workers' comp claims, other grievances, that kind of thing. And so we're thinking about starting to roll the budget documents to start working on the 2024 budgets. Just seems like we finished 2023, but
Already?
yeah. Well, it takes a long time to get all the payroll information rolled forward. Make sure that any new accounts get added into those spreadsheets.
Just keeps on rolling it.
So, yeah.
Half the year is getting the budget ready and then get the first 6 months off.
And then closing out the
Then
prior
you're
year.
Then you're
yeah.
starting back on the
So,
line.
yeah, I feel like we're maybe not as far with audit prep as we have been in years past, but there'll be 2 of us working on it this year rather than just one. So I think that, we just have to kind of figure out what our new normal is and figure out our benchmarks from there. But
And I think Tanya working out it, for you and then for, transit
Yes.
works out well.
yes, she's picked it up.
And I
Really
think there's,
well.
it's advantageous to you to know more about what's going on out there, because, like all the buses, they belong to Rusk County. All that money comes through the county, so.
Yes, and our financial statements will look a little bit different this year too, because the transit will be actually presented as a component unit, and that's really what they are. So we're kind of trying to coordinate audit fieldwork a little bit with the transit this year too. So, and I think Cheryl really appreciates having more involvement from the county, at transit too.
Yeah, I think that helps.
Yeah, do you guys have any questions? As always, stop in if you do. We're happy to see you come in, and we usually have snacks, so.
The ambulance billing, how's that coming along?
It's the new company is great. I haven't, they really haven't had too many issues. The old one is not responsive for the most part, so,
We still have some there, oh, sorry, we still have some there with them?
yes.
What's gonna happen if they don't do anything? We're gonna just end up breaking them off?
We'll have to get them back from them, and then we're gonna have to figure out how to, because there's payments they don't have applied to those accounts, so we'll have to, they have our software, and we have the renewal now for the software, and I told Tom to hold on to it, but that's supposed to renew in June. If we can save $4,000, that'd be great, but at this point, I don't know that we'll be able to, because we'd like to transition those accounts over to Alliance, the old collection agency, the ones that we can, and then kind of keep the old and the new stuff separate with LiveQuest. But they have until the end of this month to get things cleaned up, but I haven't heard any questions from them. I sent him an email asking, for the December reports. They did respond right away when Rich sent the letter, but that's the last we've heard from them, so.
But we really haven't made any headway since Rich sent the letter.
No.
Just a response is all.
Well, I think we need to put it on next month's agenda. I think we gotta deal with it, that's my thought,
Yeah.
if the chair's okay with it.
Okay, anything else for Jim? If not, the last thing we got here is review and amend future committee meeting dates. And Jim had talked to me about, time is bad for him. Maybe for Phil too.
I'd like to see him go to the afternoon if it worked for everybody else's schedule, as late as possible for the employees here, to tie up half a day, especially when we roll into budget time, 2 times a month. I mean, that's all PT PTO very much for me, so. Come and sit at a board meeting, I don't know if Phil works it, some of it they let me work a little extra, fudge it over, but some of
What
it
time
I
would
can't.
work best for you?
Whatever works best for the employees late in the afternoon. Jamie and I kinda talked about 3, I'd like to see it not any earlier than 3, but I get it, other people, I get where the employees are coming from. This has been bothering me for a while, and I've been trying to figure out a way to bring it up, but I hate having to ask them to stay after for a meeting too. They work all day long. Maybe we can, I don't know, set up the agenda so they can come in first, type thing, but, yeah.
If we were at 3, we'd be at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, so.
And maybe their employee stuff can go on the agenda first to help, I don't know. So they're not sticking around here till 5 o'clock.
And for me, if I can plan for it, it's not a big deal, but like the other employees that, have something to present, you have to put them at the beginning and then.
I don't care, well, that was mine. Sometimes, summertime is hard for me in the afternoon, so.
In the budget
Are
ones,
there
I think we'd
any
still have to have during the
days
days.
that work better for you guys?
It's,
I mean,
for me at least, and yes,
Day of the
and
week.
yes, we're gonna do it on a Saturday. The
Yeah.
the afternoon works better.
That's
If you wanna
what
come
it
in
is.
on Saturday, I'll come on
Saturday,
Saturday.
Sunday, I don't care, we can have a 6 AM.
But Sunday
No,
matters.
I know that.
So, I mean, if it's 3 in the afternoon, the only day that doesn't really work well for me is Wednesdays, never work well for me.
And Wednesdays are not a good day for me either, so Thursdays are fine if it works for everybody else. I don't have a problem with the day.
Thursdays work for you?
Thursdays are fine if we can just have it in the afternoon. I mean, I get it, sometimes we're gonna have to move it around with things that happen, that's fine, but I don't wanna be a burden on the committee with it, I'm just gonna end up missing
It would
some
be
meetings
easier.
if I don't.
It'd be easier for me as well.
On a Thursday?
Thursday, afternoon, Thursdays work great, but, I mean, I'm flexible other than Wednesdays.
I don't foresee a problem with Thursday afternoons unless somebody else has
We
one.
got personnel on Thursdays.
Well, it'd
Not
be a
the
different
same
week of the
week,
month though.
Yeah,
That's not the same week, so. I mean, you can, as long as it doesn't conflict with something else that's going on here too, I mean, but it can be the same day of the month, and I'd just like to see go from morning to afternoon, that's all.
And most of the summer, I mean, the budget meetings, we're still gonna have to start at 8 or 8:30 because those are gonna, we know that those are gonna be 8-hour, and the departments are all involved in that.
If we do a whole day and I can plan for it ahead of time and take a day, I don't know about Phil, that's not the end of the world, I need that, but these half days every month, yeah. I mean, it's a half day, it just is what it is. So, for me anyhow.
No matter to me. I'm just marking time.
you don't have that busy of a schedule, huh, Tony?
Tony's checking his schedule here.
Yeah.
Where should I put the mark?
Well, it's pretty busy.
Al, do you have a preference one way or another?
Thursday would work for me as far as that goes.
Afternoons,
Yeah,
good for you?
I'm pretty flexible, I don't have
You,
that much.
Randy had some concern, I don't wanna overlook that either, but on the afternoon
As
part.
far as what day of the week, doesn't matter to me, but, in the afternoons, well, I'd probably miss quite a few meetings during the summer, so.
Around the one time. Aim time.
Yeah, hey, and then I do lawn care stuff too.
Well, Randy's the chair, so I mean, if it is.
Well, no, it's not my total decision, so.
Whatever you guys decide, I can go along with any of it.
I mean, if we only go a couple hours stuff, we might as well keep it early, cause that won't do anything for me if we go from 8:30 to 10, it's not really gonna make much of a difference, I'd rather one or the other, I guess.
Well, should we try a Thursday at 3 o'clock and see what happens with, Randy's schedule?
I'm willing to try it.
If need be, you can come in on shorts.
You might do anyway.
It's your guys' decision, so I just wanted to bring it to the committee, so.
Whatever you guys
We used to
decide.
meet on Wednesdays, I think, but it doesn't, day of the week doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so for May, we'll do 3 o'clock on May 18th for our next meeting.
3 o'clock, May 18th.
When would that be?
3 o'clock on May 18th is the third Thursday. We're at.
Okay, do we have anything
in the
else?
boardroom.
So if there's nothing further, then we will stand adjourned.